At this time, we'll call the May 11th, 2026 council meeting to order. Please rise if you can for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Make a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
Second. Got a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Consent or public forum, I guess, yeah. Ms. Wells.
Hi, thanks. Sorry, I just ran in here at the last second. My name is Mary Wells, and I live on Edmar Lane in East Bethel. And first, I want to thank you for serving on City Council and as mayor. I'm here to speak about the resolution I believe is in the packet tonight regarding the flag. I think it's on the agenda in the packet. First, I understand there's only one state flag being flown currently, and that's at the ice arena. I don't know.
That one and the one behind us here.
State flag?
Yep.
Oh, there is a state flag right there. Okay, so there's only a couple flags around the city, and it's each city's decision to whether or not to even fly the state flag. So I hear so much about the state flag issue. We all have been lately, obviously. Obviously, it's become a divisive political issue. I believe it's that the Republicans hate the flag, Democrats like the flag. But since this council is supposed to be nonpartisan, not representing any political party, I just would like you to keep an open mind on this whole issue. But personally, I prefer the new flag for a variety of reasons. The big reason is that I sort of kept up with the process as it went along. I'm one of those weird people who subscribes to state and local government e-news. So I get all this news from the state, from the city, all this, I read it, you know, and as time permits, I keep up on issues that are really important to me. So I feel that the process of designing and selecting this flag was explained in detail to those of us who chose to be actively engaged. There were several opportunities along the way where they collected broad public citizen input, and so many people say they don't know how it came to be, but it is on each of us, I believe, to be engaged and pay attention to the issues that are important to us. So since you are already considering a resolution, I have a feeling that it'll probably pass. Keep flying the old flag, and even perhaps ordering more old state flags for different locations. I ask that if you are going to pass keeping the old flag, keep it as historic, and consider also flying the new flag as a symbol of your nonpartisanship and your open-mindedness. I just feel like right now we need help from all of you, our elected officials, anybody, to help us come together as a community around this issue, around so many issues. There's just so much divide, and I just would hate to see this be another issue that divides us even further. So thanks again for your time, and again for all your work on behalf of the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Item 6.0, consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Anything need to be polled? Nothing? Nothing being heard? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None heard. Motion passes. Item 8. Item 1.
I think that's me, Mayor.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Mayor and Council. This item is a request for an administrative subdivision at Our Savior's Lutheran Church located at 19001 Jackson Street Northeast. You have the map on the screen that shows a 2.65 acre parcel that they are seeking to remove and create an independent parcel from their larger parcel, which is just to the southeast of their church. The request qualifies as administrative subdivision under city code, does not require new roads, new public infrastructure, or something you might see in a plat or the like. The request is compatible with both the public institutional zoning district and the city's public future land use designation. The reason they are seeking this subdivision is, or administrative subdivision, is in the northeast corner of this new lot proposed. They have what's called a columbarium there, and their lender, as part of their financing for, I guess, their expansion or renovation, is asking that to be removed from their current deed or title. I suppose it's an encumbrance that they don't want should they have to foreclose or what have you. So this is why they are seeking this. Certainly the columbarium is directly associated with the existing church use, and the subdivision would certainly not change the overall institutional character of the property. Staff reviewed the survey and finds the proposed parcel has adequate frontage, buildable area, and access, does not create a flag lot. Admittedly, it's a little awkward, but that parcel that points down is a football field wide and 700 to 800 feet deep. So it's certainly not landlocking anything or creating an unusable parcel elsewhere. So based on the findings in the staff report, staff recommends council approve resolution 2026-23 subject to the conditions noted in the resolution, including any final review of legal descriptions, required easements, if any. There will be a park dedication fee, as it is creating a new parcel, and seeking them to record this within 180 days, so it doesn't, if they need an extension to that, certainly we could probably accommodate that, just so it closes a loop on it. So with that, it's kind of the whole thing.
I'll make a motion to approve City Council Resolution 2026-23 with conditions.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Eric, with this being an administrative subdivision, how many more times could this parcel be subdivided?
You know, the ordinance does speak to allowing us a subdivision one time. However, the ordinance does not speak to that timeline. So, interestingly, this was part of what I can gather and find in some of the history, it was part of a similar subdivision 20 years ago. But I would be more concerned if they came back and tried to create a parcel that wasn't of size, that is still 300 feet north to south or 300 feet east to west. So if they came in and tried to split this again, being it's a public institutional zone, which has no standards, if you will, they'd pretty much have to have a really good reason as to why.
Okay, so I'm just looking at, you kind of allude to the fact of a flag lot and
Yeah.
the parcel that goes down to the south, that at sometime in the future, I could see that as being split off and
Yeah.
used for something. Would they be allowed to do that?
That is zoned actually R2, if I recall correctly. So that would have to be split from the northern half of it at some point. But maybe at that point you might have different rules, different standards. Who knows why they may do that. They also own the parcel to where the pond is to the west, where it says exception.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they'd be looking to combine some land there too. So
Okay.
This will have a separate PID, right? Once it's
yes, it
split?
would.
Okay,
Once done.
thanks.
Any further discussion? None being heard. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? unheard. Item 2, Resolution 2026-24.
Thank you again, Mayor and Council. Let me just get a map you can actually make sense of here. I'm sure. All right. Okay. This item is also for administrative subdivision and lot line adjustment request for the property located at 20063 University Avenue, Extension Northwest. Proposal will transfer approximately 2.32 acres to the existing home site, which is the blue, increasing it to 7.33 acres, with the remaining parcel in yellow, not in the green, at 18.07 acres. The reason the applicant is seeking this is for an accessory structure size. Your code has a index of or limitation of your accessory structure size based on total acreage. So this would allow him a slightly bigger accessory structure. No additional lots are being created. No increase in density is proposed, and no public infrastructure or other improvements are required. The request is compatible with the rural residential zoning district and the rural residential future land use designation. Both resulting parcels will remain large rural residential parcels exceeding the applicable lot area and frontage requirements, preserves the rural density character intended for the area. Again, it's essentially a reconfiguration of his parcels and not creating any new lots and meeting the city's subdivision standards. So, based on those findings, staff report, staff will recommend approval of resolution 202624, subject to conditions noted in the resolution.
Make a motion to approve Council Resolution 2026-24, subject to the conditions set forth in the resolution.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Eric, I'm looking at this. It's like we got two different owners.
Yeah, the
One comes up, the big plot area there that they're trying to go on there with the green here, comes in as an Andover resident, where the initial plot comes in as a East Bethel resident.
So I did look at the tax ID identification, and they are both Paulo Fanucci.
Yeah.
I don't know where he might have, when he recorded the property or when it was sold. Maybe he had a different address for tax purposes. I don't know. All I can comment on is that the ownership is in the same name.
Okay.
And I believe, if I remember the transaction history, it was from his, I'm not gonna say I can't say it was his parents, but it was a similar last name.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None heard. Item 3, Resolution 2026-25.
All right, thank you again. Mayor and Council, in your packet, there's a resolution that authorizes the city to apply to the Metropolitan Council Planning Assistance Grant Program for funding associated with your upcoming 2025 Comprehensive Plan update. East Bethel's eligible for a non-competitive base grant of up to $40,000 to assist in comprehensive planning costs. Tonight's request is limited to the authorization to apply for the base grant and execute related grant documents when they become available. As we know, under statute, the city is required to complete its next comprehensive plan by December 31st, 2028. Grant funds can be used for staff time, consultant services, public engagement, and other planning-related activities necessary to get that job done. There are some additional incentive grants that may be available. That's not something we're seeking at this time. We try to find out what those may be more about as the process unfolds, but potentially up to another $5 or possibly, if I recall, $10,000. But I would bring those back to you if we thought those were possible. Based on the information presented, staff recommends approval of Resolution 2026-25.
Make a motion that we pass resolution 2026-25.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? None being heard. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None heard. Item 4, concept plan.
Mr. Mayor, I'm gonna handle this one, and let me just get, this screen over. This computer likes to create issues. Okay, Mr. Mayor, before you here this evening is the very blurry.
That's the way it always looks.
Wonder if it's loading. Before you here this evening is the withdrawal of concept plan by Capstone. Typically, these are handled administratively. However, wanted to bring this forward to the council to seek your approval on this. And I just wanted to give a little history on this, kind of the reason why we're here. And I cannot tell you why it's not coming in. Wow. Hold on a second here.
I can't read that fast. Speeder.
Let's just pull it over from.
I've got it if you want.
You got it on
Yes.
yours? Okay. Sorry for the delay. Reason why we're here, Capstone wanted to present this as a concept plan or an idea, and they wanted to bring this before the residents, particularly those in close proximity to the area. They invited the neighbors in to get questions answered, that sort of thing. Then they actually brought it to the open house town hall meeting. Had a board there in case there were questions that were generated, and then it went to the planning commission. It was at the planning commission that was determined that it was premature maybe at this point, and was denied by the planning commission on the basis of that. By way of history, Capstone has an option on this property to purchase this. Some of the suggestions that came in were larger lots, well and septic. Capstone has reiterated that they do not do larger lots, well or septic. And essentially, if this were to sell to a different developer could be landlocked, which would result in, probably a reduction in price to the seller or a loss of value. Another topic that kind of came up was that of the Musaline. Musaline was an invented concept by the Met Council to prevent sprawl. And the reason why they weren't fans of sprawl is because within the Musaline is the main sewer line that goes down to Pig's Eye. And if it sprawls to the north or east or west or wherever, they would have to extend that main sewer line at a tremendous cost to them, and they wanted to prevent that from happening. So they wanted development to kind of be confined within the Musaline. East Bethel also has a Musaline, but we are self-contained in the sense of we have our own self-contained sewer plant here that processes waste and trucks the solids out, actually pumps the water, treated water, back up to the north and reintroduces it to a wetland that allows the wetland to do what wetlands do best. They filter it back into the aquifer, which is actually becoming the best management practice out there today. But nevertheless, MUSA here is a kind of a fictitious line that's placed and doesn't really have a whole lot of bearing because it doesn't deal with sprawl in the sense of what MUSA was originally designed for. And so that doesn't necessarily impact us as much. We actually brought this up to Met Council and they were very supportive. As you know, the system over there is not operating anywhere near capacity or even efficiently, and they're looking for more flow rate to come through there, more hookups, and as a result, that would accomplish that on their part, so they're very supportive of this. But nevertheless, it was determined that maybe it was best for Capstone to withdraw this concept plan application, and they wanted me to be clear for folks that they would be bringing this back at some point in the future when it wasn't premature in the future, and try to exercise that option to purchase on that property, the 30 acres in question here. So just wanted to give that quick little rundown on this, and so staff recommendation is accept the withdrawal of the concept plan from Capstone Homes for Viking Meadows South proposal.
We have no action on that, right?
Just a motion to accept.
Make a motion to accept. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? None being heard. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None heard. Item 8G, Minnesota flag.
Bear with me 1 second. Let me try and get this pulled back up here if we can relaunch this. There you go. The challenge that we have is that if you scroll too fast, it doesn't like to populate. So we will try and get there here. Not sure where that's going. Bear with me. Okay, Mr. Mayor, before you this evening is considered adopting a resolution regarding flying the Minnesota flag for the city of East Bethel. On April 27th, the council addressed the issue of retaining the 1983 Minnesota state flag instead of transitioning to the new flag design adopted in 2024. Council directed staff to prepare a formal resolution to display the old flag on municipal property. I wanted to include in here that state statute does not require cities to fly the state flag, and municipalities may choose which version, if any, to display. I can pull that up. We'll see if we're successful doing that. During the Olympics, there was a flag that was flown. I believe it was the top left one here, historical flags. No, it wasn't that one. It's one of these. And I know a lot of people kind of commented on that, but essentially for U.S. flags, any of these historical flags can be flown and are authorized to be flown. You don't have to fly this particular one here, which is the latest adopted flag. But similarly, I would assume that the state flag should probably fall within that same category of within the same category of, flying whichever flag you would choose, because both were adopted at one point or another and were official flags of the Minnesota state. So, before you this evening is a resolution to consider preference of displaying the state flags at city facilities.
right now, like I say, we only really, the only one we're really flying that ain't standing like the one behind us is at the ice arena. I mean, we have no state flags on any of our other poles in the city. I mean, so are we gonna start flying one? Is that the intent here,
I
or
feel,
just the option?
yeah, I feel that the city should be able to make their own choice on what flags they want to fly. And like you say, I know the only one at the ice arena I've seen is the older flag. And I've had a lot of residents call me and say, "You're not gonna fly that new one, are you?" And I just says, "It's not up to me, we all gotta vote on it." But there was a lot of negativity about it, and so that's why I brought it up. And it's, I don't know if residents know that it's cost us a lot of money to do this. Originally, there was 13 voting members that cost was $35,000 to change the flag. But since then, and it's a going on cost constantly, I believe they're up to almost $4 million because they've had to change flags everywhere, uniforms, and vehicle decals. So I mean, a lot of people, to me, that's a lot of money that's spent on this flag. And that's our money, is how I look at it. And it's an ongoing cost, and they say they don't even know when that will end. So that's my info on that.
I'd like to address a concern that a five-member council should not speak for every resident, especially in an issue like the state flag. I understand that concern, and in one sense, it's absolutely correct. No council can represent every individual opinion on every matter. In a community as diverse as East Bethel, like ours is, residents are always going to hold different views. Some will prefer the new flag, some are going to prefer the original flag. That difference of opinion is actually normal within a healthy city. But that is exactly why we have a council sitting here. The purpose of this body is not to act as a mirror of every single preference in town. Our purpose is to deliberate publicly, hear our residents, and weigh the issues carefully, and then make a decision that reflects on the interest of this city as a whole. Representation does not mean necessarily unanimous agreement. It means responsible judgment on behalf of the community. This discussion is not about whether any one resident is entitled to her opinion. She absolutely is, okay? Every resident is entitled to support the flag they prefer, just as every resident is entitled to disagree. But a city building displays a public symbol, and public symbols are chosen by public officials through a public process. The decision is not made by one person's politics, one person's taste, or one person's social media post. It is made through the authority entrusted in councils like this in other cities and ours. I want to be clear that this issue should not be reduced to labels like left or right or conservative or woke, because once we start talking that way, we stop talking about the actual question that is before us. The real question is simple. What symbol best represents East Bethel and the state of Minnesota on municipal property? For many of us, the original flag does that better. The flag people recognize, the flag is tied to the state's history. The flag has been a part of the public landscape for far longer than any new design. And I think that matters because government symbols should provide continuity. They should give residents a sense of stability and something they're familiar with. They should reflect on what the public already knows and identifies with. A new flag may have its supporters, and that's absolutely fine. But a municipal building is not required to adopt every new symbol because it exists. Cities are allowed to exercise judgment and choose what best fits their community's identity. I believe flying the original flag is a reasonable, respectful, and lawful choice for East Bethel. It not only honors our state's history, it avoids unnecessary division. It reflects what many residents still see as a true and familiar symbol of Minnesota, and it shows that our city values continuity and local discretion rather than automatically following every imposed change from above. That is why I'm for this.
Need a motion if you're gonna go forward with it.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution on the flag, 2026-26.
I'm gonna second it.
A motion and a second, any further discussion?
Got a couple comments on the resolution. Last paragraph, now therefore, there is one typo. Third sentence, known as the 83 flag shall be designated as the representative flag, state flag for the city of East Bethel. There's
You can make that change.
one change there. And continuing on with that, and that all city-owned properties shall proudly display. I'd like to offer the suggestion of changing shall to may. Having shall in there implies that on any city-owned properties where flags are displayed, that the city flag shall be flown on that property. Putting may in there gives the option to just fly it at the ice arena like we are already doing.
If, Councilman Armando, if you want to make a friendly amendment to the motion,
Okay.
pass that, and then,
Oh, do we need to do that for the typo or just the one change?
yeah, if you want to just,
Okay, I'll
identify
make
that.
a friendly amendment to the motion to correct the typo for the city and change the word shall to may.
I'll second that.
All right, to the friendly amendment, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None heard, motion passes. Item 2.
and then you want to take a final vote on the
Oh.
resolution.
Okay. Any further discussion on the final vote? None being heard. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None heard. Item G2.
Okay, I'll pull that up here in a second. Okay, Mr. Mayor, before you here this evening is a opportunity for a property acquisition. In a prior EDA meeting, we had discussed the corner of 1347 Sims, corner of Sims and 65 for acquiring that property and kind of talking about some of the other properties that were available. At that point, there was a discussion about an existing property. Does not have a street address, but here's the PIN number. That is essentially two properties to the west of the one that we acquired. It was originally listed for $265,000. I received a call from the listing agent, and we had a very good conversation in which it was expressed to me that they would be willing to sell that property for $175,000. I'm bringing that before you this evening for your consideration. As you know, this area is kind of slated for change, and some of that change, we've tried to identify a location where a water treatment facility could potentially go on a water tower. This is for the purpose of hooking the two elementary schools up to city sewer and water service. And this property could be used for that project, as opposed to, I think Councilmember Mono, you were opposed to the 1347 being a water tower on the corner of 65 there, and I would agree with you on that. But this one's a little bit off the beaten path on Sims that might be a better prospect for that. And if it isn't, we can certainly find some other property too. Originally, we were thinking of going under Highway 65 because we own land right next to the post office. There's some significant cost in drilling those pipes underneath the highway that it might make better sense. I mean, costs in terms of millions of dollars. Could be, last I saw was a $2 million ad to do that, as opposed to purchasing a property like this for $175,000 would allow us to essentially use that property in lieu of going underneath the highway, if that was the ultimate decision to do so. But before you this evening is just a few different documents. There's a appraisal proposal. This is Guggenberger Services does a appraisal for $1,000, very reasonable, to validate that $175,000 is worth it. The environmental site assessment proposal is here as well. That's $2,500 to do that property. That's to determine if there was anything dumped on the property that shouldn't have been, or if there's contaminated soils. And then the third item here is the intent to purchase agreement that Jacob Softly drafted for us, and basically kind of lays out, intent to purchase if everything kind of falls in line, and passes muster, if you will. Actually, I'm sorry. The intent to purchase was put on your desk here because we received that over the weekend, because of the quick turnaround on that. So that is at your desk. At any rate, Mayor, before you this evening is essentially the important portion of it is the intent to purchase, and time is of the essence, if you want to proceed with that.
Intent purchase is not legal binding, right?
No, maybe our attorney can comment on that.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Mr. Look, this particular letter of intent is not binding.
Okay.
So what exactly are we intending to use this property for?
Good question. This is the property right here that we're looking at. This is the one 1347 Sims that we purchased. This is the property right here on Johnson Street. Couple of options. We can use this for a possible future fire station. We could use it for water treatment, water tower. We probably couldn't do all three of them on that same location. But then essentially it's, as you can see, that much closer to the schools as well. If you're hooking up water, any distance that you're looking at there, the further away, the more costly it is. So this actually will help reduce some of that cost to try and get the schools hooked up to city sewer and water services. It could be used for economic development. When city sewer and water comes through this area, this land here will be, what's proposed for the industrial park will be, probably a lot more expensive than it is today, as will the parcel we purchased, as will this property here. So it's essentially, right now, with a conditional use permit, a used car lot could go in there. Would the city want that? Controlling and owning the property, you can help to place something in there that you would like to place there, and as far as city services go, it would be an ideal location. That would then also allow this area up in here to hook up to city sewer and water.
What's the update on that process? in terms of what we have going down at the state for funding?
So, Mr. Mayor and Council, as far as an update on that, we were successful in getting being included in the bill for the Emers earmark, shall we say, high priority project. And we've not received those dollars. We've not been notified that that bill has passed, but we're fairly confident that will pass. My thinking was with that passing, that'll help to encourage the state to support the remainder of the ask, which is 6.5 million. We were 10.5 originally, less 3 million, 6.5. That's not right, 7.5. And that's already been reduced at the state level, and according to our senator, we're on the top of the list. So again, depending on what bonding bill passes, if it passes, or if there's a lot of infighting, which I'm sure we can anticipate, we don't know how that'll shake out, but we're in better standing, I think, today than we were before.
With the purchase of this property for that amount, you're saying, I can see where it's gonna cut off a couple million for starters. Would that lower what we're asking then at the state, and wouldn't that help us?
So it could potentially, the original estimates are just that, estimates.
Okay.
We will not know what the total price is until such time as we get the bids in and we understand, where we are in terms of the actual cost to do the work. So I would hesitate to come down off that 10.5. I know the 10.5 was established approximately 3 years ago. So it doesn't account for construction inflation either.
But it would be drastically cheaper instead of coming across from the other side of the freeway though, right?
Yeah, again, we were coming from over here and trying to come underneath the highway and then running all the way down underneath the highway. I think it was ballparked around a $2 million cost to do that. Avoiding that would be good. Now, that doesn't mean we may not be going over at some point, because you've got a lot of houses over here that could potentially hook up in the future. But at least as it relates to getting the schools hooked up at the least amount of cost possible, we can focus on this side of the highway first and cross other bridges later.
Barring that doesn't happen, that location for a future fire department fits what we were looking at
Fits
for
as well.
that side of the city also, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Need to know.
So, as far as putting a water tower on it, I don't think that'd be an appropriate location for it. I could see a fire department, and if water and sewer comes into this area, it should be a commercial piece, because it's right on Sims. If there's gonna be a water tower, I'd rather have it set off the Sims a little bit. So
That may require purchasing other property. But
yeah.
those are future discussions.
Yeah, I can see, is it a good deal? Yes. Is it the right spot for a water tower? I don't think it is. Much like other cities, they have the water tower block off a major road or something, not right where everybody's gonna see it all the time. I mean, despite it, water tower being very tall, but it's at least,
They cast shadows.
yeah.
Right now, Mr. Mayor and Councilor, we're looking at a willing seller scenario. There's not any other property in this area, short of this, which they've indicated a very high cost for, but nothing else in this proximity up here that's currently for sale.
Well, the price is definitely right.
Do we have the money in the EDA for that?
We would have the money in the general fund to be able to afford this. And I'm currently, just so the council knows, I'm currently working with a developer on the Taylor Street property that's interested in purchasing that. I doubt that we'll have that lined up before the purchase of a property such as this, but we would, in the future, be able to repay those dollars with that.
So I guess we're looking for somebody to entertain a motion to move forward with the initial process, being non-legal binding. I mean, I see value in it, so I'll make a motion to move forward on it.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? None being heard. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None heard. Staff report.
Mr. Mayor, just, I was gonna give a staff report on Capstone, but we included that this evening in the community development portion. Also want to just touch on the fact that the new attorney will be starting June 1st. They will be meeting with us here in the next, on the 14th, we have some meetings lined up. I do not believe Councilmember Mundell or Councilmember Urkel have been notified of that yet, so this is new news to you. But anyways, on the 14th, Mr. Berglund is available for meetings if you want to meet to talk about any city issues, to bring them up to speed. And but I do want to notify, so on June 8th is our first meeting, which typically the first of the month doesn't land on a Tuesday, which our meetings are always the second Tuesday and fourth Tuesday. So Mr. Berglund will be out of the country on June 8th. He will have representation here. I'm assuming Scott Baumgartner will probably be covering for him, but he's going to be in Europe at that time and notified me of such. So, but aside from that, everything should go over smoothly. So, unless there's any questions.
Can you send that out in email?
I will send that out, yeah.
Thank you.
Council reports.
I'd like to make a big shout out to the Fire Department Auxiliary. On Sunday, May 3rd, I volunteered with them to do the roadside cleanup. Did the section of Sims to 221st. And this was a new section. They'd switched it up from the previous section, and I don't think this section had been done for a while because there's quite a lot of trash. So I'll make a big shout out to Fire Department Auxiliary and the volunteers that showed up there.
Anybody else? Tim?
We had a meeting at Sunrise, Rum River Watershed Association. Went over their annual report. June 1st, we've got a big night over there. We're going to tour what's been going on at Lake George and the efforts of restoration in the shorelines over there. So that ought to be interesting. Other than that,
All right, I have nothing, so entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make motion adjourn.
second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting's done.